is to discuss with you the national certificates. As you can see here, I'm going to be talking about how to obtain your N1, how to obtain your N2, how to obtain your N3, be it N4, and so on, and the processes and the steps. So if you are interested, just continue watching the rest of this video. Hello, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to a different session today where I just want to discuss with you some national certificates, and it goes to do with the N1 to N6. And before I go through these certificates and how to obtain them and what to do if you want to have your national certificate, I just want to bring in to say this video was sponsored by Ekurhuleni Technical College, so that I can bring you some of the information which you might require for you to obtain your national certificate. Ekurhuleni Technical College actually does offer exams for N1 to N6. So if you are interested in registering with Ekurhuleni Technical College, you can check them out. This is the website that I'm going to show at the end of the video, and this is the website that I'm showing. So thank you, Ekurhuleni Technical College, for sponsoring this video. But again, as I said, the purpose of this video is to discuss with you the national certificates. As you can see here, I'm going to be talking about how to obtain your N1, how to obtain your N2, how to obtain your N3, be it N4, and so on, and the processes and the steps. Some of you want to obtain their N1, some of you want to obtain their N2, some of you their N3, and so on. So how do these certificates look like? Let's start from the end. You might be interested in obtaining a certificate like this. So I covered in some of the sensitive information because these are actual certificates from students. So as you can see, this is a national says certificate of achievement N1 under engineering studies awarded to. It will be your name and your ID number with effect from the year, and then it gives now the instructional offerings of the subject passed. So this is the N1. You can see it shows now the subjects that were obtained by the student, and there's some security marks, especially the you see the numbers that I was kind of hiding here, like the serial number, so that it can be traceable back to the Department of Higher Education. An N2 certificate also looks similarly to the N1. The security features, as you can see, there is that mark there, and then it's also called the Certificate of Achievement N2 under Engineering Studies. The next one is the N3 certificate. This N3 certificate is, as you can see, it's a national N3 certificate under Engineering Studies. And again, apologies if you see this, I have to hide the name here of the person. And then this certificate, as you can see, these are the subjects that were obtained, and then it gives you also some security features. And this one actually even states that it is from Umalusi, which is the quality assurer, as well as the Department of Higher Education being the one that awards the certificate. So these are different certificates you can obtain. Also, we have got the one from QCTO. This is the N4 certificate, which is Certificate of Achievement N4. It's almost similar to the N1 and N2. And then also there is some sensitive information that I didn't want to bring in here, but as the rest of the things, you can see that this is the certificate under QCTO. So for N4, it is under QCTO. Now let's discuss on the part of how do you obtain the certificate. So we are starting here by saying you want to obtain one of these certificates. So the first thing what is important is for you to register with a relevant college. So registration is the first part. But when you're registering, remember, you're going to call whichever college you're going to call. So these ones, you can approach either a private college or you can approach either a public college. Now, the advantage with a public college is that they offer some funding or usually the NSFAS, which gives some funding for those who cannot afford to pay their full school fees, or their tuition fees. So there is that advantage. But when you come to private now, you have to be in a position to be able to fund your fees. And though the advantage with private also is that you can get some distance learning, which is very suitable, especially if you're talking to students who are working or they are committed to other studies. That's why I said in the beginning that Ekurhuleni Technical College is one of the colleges that is sponsoring this video, because it offers some distance learning. So ETC, which is Ekurhuleni Technical College, you can check their website as I mentioned at the end of this video. So now when you are calling these guys any place, or you are visiting an institution and you want to find out how to go about this, now let's start with the requirements. So one thing I know, the main ultimate of these studies, most of the students, is that they want to obtain their N2 certificate. I'm going to explain why. But for you to be able to obtain your N2, most probably you need to start from your N1, but it is not a must. Now, when do you start from N1? You can start from N1, number one, if you do not have matric, but you have got grade 9 or 10 report. You can start from what? You can start from N1. But if you have a matric certificate, now that matric certificate, you must have specific subjects, which is your math and your science. Now if you have these subjects, then you are in a better position to go directly to N2, because you are meeting the requirements for N2. Not only that, if you have got your maths and science from matric, you can even go on to start from N3, because this is matric is equivalent to that, to N3. So it depends. When you've got a matric, you've got an advantage to do N2 or N3. But there is something special with the N2 certificate, which I'm going to explain. So now, as I said, the main purpose of this video is to say, how do you obtain that? So now when you're talking about engineering studies here, engineering studies is divided into I'll say two broad categories, and the first one is electrical engineering, and it's electrical, just mind my spelling there, it's electrical engineering, and the other one, I think you know, is mechanical engineering. And so these are the two broad categories that you will be dealing with, and there are also some broad subjects that you can think of whenever you're dealing with this. So the common one, which is in both, you've got your maths here, you also got your maths on this side. Remember, this is maths core. You have got your physics. It's actually engineering science, but it's better to say physics so that students can know it is purely physics that you'll be dealing with, but they call it engineering science, or ES. And then what else? And then now when it comes to electrical, that's where you can have now some other subjects. For example, you can have industrial electronics here. Alright, and then you can have another subject which is ETT, which is electrical trade theory. This is the trade subject. So this is your what? This is when you're doing your electrical subjects. So now when I'm talking about electrical, remember it can be N1 to N3, meaning this industrial electronics, it will be N1, N2 to N3, mathematics N1, N2, N3, and so on. Now when we come to electrical also, just what I want to bring in here is that you hear students telling you that there is light current, and then there is also a heavy current. There is in the beginning of N1 and N2, there are very minor changes here. When it comes to light current, you can discover that some offer different subjects now, such as logic systems. These are now things that you can find them in N3, like logic systems, and radio and TV, radio and TV theory, and all those subjects. And then when it comes to heavy current in N3, you can find another subject called electrotechnology. So technology, you find it mainly for those who say, I want to do heavy current. Now I'm gonna explain that if time allows. So now the other distinct one, though, when it comes to heavy current, the one that is distinct, that is different, when it comes to electrical, it is instrumentation. Alright, it is instrumentation. Now instrumentation is where now the subjects are still the same, but where there is this subject which is electrical trade theory. Now when it comes to instrumentation, what you have instead is instrument trade theory. Instrument trade. I seen that. So that's what you're just substituting. The rest of the subjects remain the same. So that is that. And then let's come here to mechanical. When we are dealing with mechanical kind of branches into different sections now, which I might not exhaust in this video, but you discover that there is quite a number of courses that you can find under that. Let's talk of, you find your boilermaker, and then you find your rigging. See, this all falls under what? Mechanical engineering. You find your millwright, and then you find your what? Fitting and turning. You see, and then what you find your motor and diesel. So you see, you got quite a lot of options when it comes here. You find your with boiler making. Also, you must remember there is welding. You see, so these are all under mechanical, and the main subjects that you offer here, I would say you have got your maths. As I said, you have got your physics, and then most of them, what is common here, you have got your engineering drawing, or one of the drawing subjects. Engineering drawing, but it's better to say you have got a drawing subject. Why? Because in boilermaker you don't have engineering drawing, but you have got what is called PSSD, which is plating and structural steel drawing, but the rest usually is engineering drawing. So that's why I'm saying drawing is important in this section. And then you see, when it comes to boilermaker now, it becomes a few subjects that change. You come here, you find that you've got your metalwork theory, metalworkers theory, and you've got your platters theory in N2. Platters theory. So this is N1, this is N2. And then in rigging, you've got now the fourth subject becomes your rigging theory. Remember, by the way, you need to pass 4 subjects. In millwright, you have got I think here it's for millwright, if I'm not mistaken, you need to have I think it will be electrical trade theory here, because millwright also can fall actually under electrical here. Millwright can fall under electrical. Then for fitting and turning, we have got a fitting and machining theory. Fitting and machining theory. And then motor and diesel, that's when you have got diesel trade. Some they've got motor trade here. See, it says motor and diesel. You can have motor trade. Some they have got motor electrical as a combination. Are you getting that? And then for welding here, you have got welders theory here. If I'm not mistaken, yes, it's welders theory. So these I'm giving them up to N2. to say, remember I said the critical stage is what is the stage of N2. So now, just in summary again, to bring this together, so let's say you want to obtain your N2 certificate, your national certificate. Remember, we just dealt with it to say, you know how it looks like. I just showed you a sample N2 certificate, and I think this was the one, you see. So you can look at this one, the subjects that are being covered here. This student did industrial electronics, instrument trade theory, engineering science, and mathematics. So which means this one was focusing on the what? On instrumentation, you see that. So why? Because there is instrument trade theory as the subjects that determines the career there. So now you can see also the number of subjects you need to pass, 4 subjects. And with that, so number 1 is what? It's 4 subjects. Okay. And then what is the pass mark? The pass mark that you need to obtain is the pass mark of 40%. That's the pass mark that you need to obtain, and you need to write national exams, and then I'm going to talk that a little bit later. And then with that also you need then to write what is called ICAS, which is the assessment that you internal continuous assessment. This ICAS is the one that you are going to write, and when you are writing this ICAS, you need to pass it in order to qualify. Pass to qualify to write the final exam. Okay, for exams, it's a very important precursor. It's what you write just to qualify to write the exams, and the Department of Education claims that this contributes to your final mark. You know, they're saying it contributes, it does add to your final mark, but there is controversy when it comes to the ICAS, this part. And then when you are done with your studies, it takes around 3 months to do your N course. The N course, for example, it takes around 3 months. And the registration times, we register between Jan and Feb. And when are the exams? The exams will be here if you are registering in January and February, the exams will be in March, April. You see that times are pretty short there. Then the next registration will be around July and August, and then the exams for that will be actually the exams are in July and August. So the registration here is May, around May, and the exams are July and then August. And then the last one is September. We register, that is the last term, and the exams are in November and maybe early December. So these are the registration times: January, Feb, May, not really June, September, not really October. So these are the times. So we call it trimesters. So there are 3 trimesters. So this is called the first trimester. Sorry about that. This is called the first trimester, and this is the second trimester, and this is the third trimester, or T3. So this is T1, you hear them saying T2, this is T3. So you have got 3 chances of writing your exams. So now remember, I said this. I said you need to pass what? 4 subjects. So now colleges which offer distance learning, sometimes they do this in a much better way, because what you do is you do not need to write all these 4 subjects. You can choose to write all of them at once in one trimester here, which is good. For example, you can write all the 4 subjects here in trimester, any trimester, trimester 3, trimester 2, trimester 1. Then you are done. You obtain your national certificate. But if you are struggling with time, it is also possible to divide the subject. For example, you can take 2 and you take 2 subjects. Maybe this one you write it in trimester 1, and the other 2 you write it in trimester 2. And then what you do is, when you pass these, let's say you have passed your 2 subjects and you have passed your 2 subjects, then you apply for a combination of these subjects. After you apply for a combination, then you'll get your national certificate, just like the one person who managed to write all this at once. You still also get your national certificate. So guys, that is that. And it is not difficult for you to get your national certificate, be it in N1, in N2, N3, N4. What is important is for you to focus on your studies, be dedicated, and be in a position to follow some of the guidelines that I was bringing in here. So this is part 1 of the video, whereby I was just giving you an introduction to say what to do if you want to obtain your national certificate. As I said, Ekurhuleni Technical College is one of the colleges that offers this N1, N2, N3 up to N6, and it does through distance learning mainly, or you can attend classes. It's up to you. So you can check their website and they will be able to offer more information. Now I'm going to do also another video where I'm explaining a little bit further on each subject that is involved in each and every course that I was mentioning when we're talking about these subjects, to say what is involved also in detail on these other subjects here. We have come to the end of our lesson. Remember to leave me a comment if ever you are interested in this, or you want some information on a career guide. I'm here to assist you. We've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you.